Hey guys, how you doing today? I'm here just to kind of explain my job to you guys. My name is Officer Greer. I'm with the Hickory Police Department. My current job right now, my current role is school resource officer for Hickory High School. So basically, I was provided a list of questions that you guys wanted to ask me about my job. So I'm kind of just going to run through those questions and give you answers to those questions, and hopefully that helps you understand my job a little bit better. So the first question I got was, do you get to work with dogs? Yes and no. So do I get to work with actually training the dogs? Not quite as much, just because my position doesn't require that. However, when let's say I stop vehicles and I want to utilize the canine, or it may be that we go out on a call and we're looking for a missing person or something of that nature, then I get to work with the dogs. I get to work the trails with the dogs. If the dog gets on the scent and starts going, well, that handler requires protection, especially if it's a violent call. Then basically, I'll run with the dog and the dog handler to ensure the safety of the handler. I've done this several times in my career. I've been with the police department for about 8 years now. I've served on patrol. I currently serve on the special operations team, which is our SWAT team. Like I said, I train officers. I'm a field training officer, and I'm also a school resource officer over at Hickory High School. The next question you guys had was, what do you like best about your job? Honestly, I took the job I have now. It was my choice to take it. Basically, I'd worked with adults, of course, the adult criminal justice system, for 4.5 years, and I just saw a common theme with that was you're dealing with people, the same people over and over, that pretty much have made their decisions in life. And people change. I'm not saying they don't change, but with adults, usually you're kind of set in your ways. Whereas kids can be impressionable, meaning you'll do what your friends are doing, or you may be doing stuff that you've seen your parents doing, or anything like that. But with kids, being that you're growing and you're finding out who you are, I have a chance to help you. I have a chance to help you change your ways, and help you get on a better track and find a better way to do things, and just make sure that you were able to go past the high school level, make sure you're able to make it through college. My job is school resource officer. I'm a resource to students, whether that be something personal, whether it be through my personal experiences, whether it be to help you find your first job, whatever that case may be. That's probably my favorite thing about my job, is that I'm able to help young people. And I even do some coaching on the side, so I get more of a, you see that I'm a police officer. However, you see the person that I am once I come out of that uniform, and I'm still helping to coach basketball, and I'm playing basketball, and I'm doing all these things even outside of this uniform, because this job is not who I am. It's just a role that I am. It's a job. I'm also a person when I come out of this uniform. We're not robots, much to popular belief. We have lives outside of here, and regardless if I'm in uniform or not, I like helping out kids. I like being involved with the youth, and ensuring them a better future, because you guys are our future. What's the hardest thing about being an officer? Probably the hardest thing for me is just the types of calls we have to deal with sometimes. Sometimes they involve violence. Sometimes they involve, domestic disputes. Sometimes it might be, might have to deal with the death of a family member, or something of that nature. And that's stuff that's not easy to take on. It's not easy to explain. It's not even easy to mentally process. Whereas you might have a job like, if you're a mailman, or if you work in a factory, and those are also great jobs. But one thing is, when you go home from those jobs, you don't think about the factory. You don't think about the post office and the mail that you delivered. But when you're dealing with a job that involves emotions like mine, and we're dealing with stuff that you shouldn't ever have to deal with, or you shouldn't ever have to see. We have to deal with those things. A lot of times you take those things home with you. So it can be emotionally draining. And I'll say it's good to have good hobbies. It's good to have a good outing, like listening to music, going fishing, playing sports, just finding healthy hobbies to get your mind off those things. So that's probably the hardest thing about my job. Do you have to go to college? I won't say you have to go to college to be an officer. You don't. The only thing that's only required of you is to have a high school diploma. However, you got to realize college helps, and I don't care what job you're in. college helps, especially if it's targeted towards your career. So if I have a criminal justice degree with a concentration in latent evidence, whether that be fingerprints, whether that's working crime scene, let's say later on in my career I want to apply to be an investigator. Well, if I'm going to be an investigator and I'm going to be going to crime scenes, if I have a degree in that, that means I have a better chance of getting onto that position than somebody that does not have a degree. Sometimes with some agencies, when you have a degree, they pay you extra money. Whether that be an associate's degree, whether it be a 4-year degree. As a law enforcement officer, we also have an intermediate certificate and we have an advanced certificate. And when you have a degree, you get so many training hours towards that intermediate and advanced certificate. It helps you to get a one-time bonus if you have that college degree. So a college degree can definitely help when you become a police officer, but it's not necessary to actually get on to be a police officer. You just need a high school diploma. What kind of training? So basically the kind of training you need as a police officer is, to become a police officer, is you have to go through a course called BLET, or Basic Law Enforcement Training is what that is an acronym for. So basically, you can go to pretty much any 2-year school, community college, CVCC, Mitchell Community College, Western Piedmont. You can go to any of those, and most of them offer the Basic Law Enforcement Training program. So basically, all you have to do is basically go to the college, tell them you want to major in basic law enforcement training, and then you have to complete a packet of information, as well as get a sponsor. That sponsor will pay for all your tuition, and then you'll just have to pay for your books and uniforms. So basically, for me, I went to CVCC, which is a 6-month BLET program, and my sponsor was Catawba County Sheriff's Office. They interviewed me, decided to sponsor me, and that doesn't mean you have to work for that agency, but that just means they pay for your tuition, and they basically are saying that they think you'd be a good candidate to be a police officer. What does your typical day look like? My typical day, basically, I work from pretty much 7:15 to 2:45 at the school. My shift altogether is 7 to 3. My typical day when I come in, I basically, turn the camera system on around the school. It's constantly on, but I can bring up a program to where I can see the cameras. Turn my walkie on. I got a school issued radio to where I can communicate with all the principals, anybody that's holding a radio. Plus, that's in addition to my police radio as well. So I have to listen to 2 radios pretty much. Then, I walk around the school. I'll greet the students, greet the staff, check doors, make sure, because that's the main thing is safety and security. I want to make sure that all the doors are secure around campus. If any students need help getting to class or has an issue, I'm just visible to where they can see me. Maybe once an hour, twice an hour, I'll walk around the school just so you have that presence, and every once in a while students will come to me with different issues that I may have to resolve. There are certain things that I have to address. If something reaches the criminal element within the school, then I have to assist with that. But not only that, if the principals have an issue they need me to assist with, I'll also help out with that, and it may not be law enforcement related whatsoever. It's pretty much I help enforce school rules as well. Not really enforce, but I just, I kind of talk to the kids just to get them to follow the rules, tell them why it's important to follow the rules. And I'm just a resource. If kids need to come see me for any particular reason, they can come see me. During class changes, I'll be out in the hall so students can see me. When students are in class, I'm walking around the school. I'm going, sometimes I might, with COVID, I zoom into classrooms. If, there's a lesson that I can kind of give my 2 cents on, that I can give my personal experiences on, I'll zoom into classrooms and do that for the teachers. There may be a behavioral issue in the class that I may have to address. Sometimes I'll zoom into a classroom to address the whole class about that. I like to have fun with you guys. When you guys are in class, it may be a PE class and they're playing basketball that day, and I'll go in there and I'll shoot hoops with some of the students. I like having fun just like the next person. It's not all business. I like to have fun just like anybody else. And at the end of the day, when, the bell rings, then basically I'll go out to the car rider line, make sure everything's going smooth. I'll go out to the buses, make sure everything's running smooth. And then that's how I end my day. Once it's 15 minutes past the bell, I shut everything down in my office, and then I go home for the day. I work the same hours you guys are practically at school. Did anyone inspire me? Great question. So basically, I decided at a very young age, my grandfather had inspired me. He was a military police officer in World War II. And I knew that I either want to go to the military or I knew that I wanted to go into law enforcement. And, the time I was making that decision, there's a lot of stuff going on overseas with our military. So I did decide to go into law enforcement instead. To me, both of those jobs were very honorable. I'm about helping other people, whether that be, in the military or whether that be in my own community. Pretty much, police officers are the military of our community. While we may fight other, we might handle other issues in other countries. Well, I have to handle the issues that are going on in my own community. And I felt like that was where I was needed. So that's really who inspired me. But I would definitely be proud to do military as well. How to become a police officer. I kind of already answered that question, but I'll kind of recap on that. So basically, how to become a police officer is, first of all, graduate high school. Then you want to go to, like I said, your local community college, and you don't have to go if you live in Catawba County. You can go to CVCC. If you live in, maybe you live in Morganton, it'll be Western Piedmont. Maybe you're over in Mitchell County and you go to Mitchell Community College. But basically, you will go to your respective community college, tell them you want to major in basic law enforcement training, and they will point you in the direction you need to go. You have to take a reading test and a writing test and make it at least a 70. Even if you've taken reading and writing classes, you'll still have to take that test, just like an aptitude test, and score at least a 70. And then you will go to the director of the BLET program, fill out a packet for them, and get it back to them on the deadline that they give you, and also find that sponsor. For me, like I said, it was Catawba County Sheriff's Office. Get it to them, and once you do that, they will determine if they're going to put you in the program. Some of these programs last. You got a part-time program if you need to work during the day. I did the part-time program myself. I was actually working in fast food. I worked at McDonald's, believe it or not. That was my first job. I did that from the time I was 15 to the time I was 22. There's nothing wrong with that. Basically, I would work from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then I'd go to BLET from 5:30 in the evening till 9:30 at night and do it all again the next day. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the advantage of the part-time program versus the full-time program. If you do the full-time program, it's 4 months. You get done quicker. However, it's harder to work and provide for family if you have a family. It's harder to make money unless a department sponsors you and lets you work with them and get paid while you go through BLET. Me, I didn't get paid. I didn't get sponsored I didn't get hired in a department and sponsored to go. I just got sponsored, which means that department didn't pay me. So I had to work my job and go to basic law enforcement training at the same time. Though it was hard, it was achievable. It was a long 6 months, but I got through it, and I had a job with Hickory Police Department prior to even going across the stage with my certification. My advice to you nowadays, guys, is to learn how to network. Did I think that I was going to be chosen, out of a group of 13 people that I graduated with? Do I think that I was going to be able to just go straight into a department and have a job prior to even getting my certification? No, I didn't. But because some of my instructors were from the Hickory Police Department, they saw how hard I worked in class, during PT, which is physical training. For those that don't know, basically you do push-ups, sit-ups, a lot of circuit training to get you in shape for the police officer physical ability test. But basically, because I networked with those folks that trained me to let them know, hey, yeah, I got an interest in the Hickory Police Department. They let me know about job openings. I asked them, how do I apply? Where do I apply? Just keep on, letting these people know where your mind and heart is and what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. And as long as you're putting the work in and showing them the effort that you're willing to put in, it'll iron itself out for you. Like I said, I had an interview with the Hickory Police Department prior to even graduating BLET. I was very fortunate to do that. I don't think anybody else in my class had gotten a job. I think there might have been one person that did get on with the sheriff's office and got to working in the jail, because you don't have to be certified until 1 year in the jail. So it really worked out. So, guys, That's all the questions I received. I hope this is helpful. Like I said, my name is Bryson Greer. I'm an officer with the Hickory Police Department. If you guys have any questions, call the Hickory Police Department and definitely let me know if you're interested in this career, and I can help you even further. Thanks, guys.